Welcome back to episode 2 of the TheCardNinja podcast. I'm your host, TheCardNinja, and with me is my co-host,
Tarielen.
And we're here to talk about Cube Draft and how it relates to conspiracy. So this will be our last episode relating to conspiracy, but this time we're going to talk about the conspiracies themselves, the cogword constructs as I've dubbed them, and how you can get use of them after you've drafted.
Yeah, because that is the downside to having the Draft Matters cards, is that you can't use them ever again, and they're not legal anyways, any other format.
Right, yeah, so I think Cube is the best place to put them. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Crack-A-Pack, and then from there we're going to lead in and talk about each of the conspiracies in turn, and which ones we feel are useful, and which ones we feel are just straight chaff for Cube Draft after the fact. And then we're going to round it off with what we've done to our cube after conspiracy came out, and we think it'll be a great episode. So let's get it started off with Crack-A-Pack.
Because everybody wants more magic cards.
That's right. Alright. Why don't you read us off our first one?
Our first common is Silver Chase Fox, a white and a colorless. A 2/2 creature fox. When it comes to, it's pay 1 and a white, sacrifice it, exile target enchantment.
Alright, so that's as far as conspiracy is concerned. There's no sideboarding. I think this guy's great. He's a 2/2 for 2, a bear as they call him, because that's, Grizzly Bears was a 2/2 for 2 mana. But he has the upside that you can deal with enchantments without having to worry about having it only deals with enchantments card like you'd normally sideboard. So I think he's great. It's perfect for this format.
No, he's great.
Not a high pick, but not a bad.
No, mid pick maybe if you're in those colors. It's nice because it has the removal. So
yeah, it's good.
Otherwise it's good. Yeah.
Our next card is Rappin' Flames. It is 3 colorless and a red for a sorcery. Rappin' Flames deals 1 damage to each of up to 3 target creatures. Those creatures can't block this turn. So that's not
nice.
bad. It screws the combat math in a very fun way. You could either just say those guys can't block, or you can kill off some of their little X1s,
Yeah.
So it's not bad. It's good for killing blow. I don't think I'd draft it personally. I like my removal to kill things.
Yeah.
Not take it out of the equation for a turn.
I usually stay away from red for draft, but that's just me. Red can be pretty good in draft. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it survives very well in this kind of format.
It's kind of expensive. It doesn't actually remove much, but X1s, it can be a blowout when you kind of get stalemated. But again, this is a multiplayer format, and it is an instant, so you can't screw with like 2 other people's combat math to take your opponents out.
Yeah, I'd say it's too expensive, but I mean, it does kind of help lock down the bigger creatures that they can't kill. With it being, those can't block, but
yeah.
It doesn't do much, honestly, so it's not really.
To me, it
a great
doesn't fit
pick.
the mold for multiplayer format.
No, not at all. I think that might be the other reason I don't care for red in this draft format, is because it is multiplayer.
Sure.
And draft is very single player targets.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So our next card is
Enraged Revolutionary. He's a red and 2 colorless, 2/1 human warrior with dethrone. And we talked about that last podcast, what dethrone is. I don't think he's bad, honestly. 3 for a 2/1 does seem expensive, but the dethrone is nice.
Yeah, if you look at it as being 3 for a
big.
3/2 most of the time,
Yeah.
it's not bad. And then he'll grow from there. I mean, generally, you'll find that dethrone doesn't get shut off until late game, if ever. So I mean, generally there's always a king, and it's very uncommon that you're gonna be it out of 4 people.
Yeah, well, and then because it is the multiplayer format, the dethrone works much better for red than the single target burning. I think, because then when one opponent is not the highest in life, you can switch targets, and still get that dethrone buff and grow it so that it does become a formidable threat for only 3 mana.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think it should be opponent, not player, but that's just me. I want to make it easy to. Why don't you go ahead and read the next one as well?
Lizard Warrior is a 4/2, 1 red and 3 colorless. Lizard Warrior, no abilities. Nothing really special about this one. It's a 4 mana for a 4/2.
Okay, so why this guy is good. He's good because nobody wants him.
Because nobody wants him. Yeah.
So all of the hidden agendas that give named cards benefits, like picking up haste and like a 2+1/+1 counters and making him cost 1 less, and you get like 5 Lizard Warriors because nobody wants him.
Because nobody wants him.
You look at that, and he's like a 6/4 for like 3 mana with haste. That's great. You know. So it's like build your own bomb, and nobody wants him to begin with, so he's not hard to pick up.
Right. If you get enough of those, then I would say doing some sort of theme with them with the conspiracies is a good way to go. But otherwise, he's
with the hidden agendas, the ones that leap to most people's mind is the guys that have Search Another Like Me built into them, the Wolf and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But these guys can be just as good, and I mean, there's even a conspiracy that lets these guys turn into those guys.
Right.
So he's not great. I mean, I wouldn't take him unless you're doing something like that. But if you get 2 or 3 of them because nobody's taking them,
if you're in red,
pack 1, then in pack 2 and 3, pick up all of those hidden agendas you can and just try and go mono Lizard Warrior.
Yep.
Not terrible. All right. Next is Unhallowed Pact. It is an enchantment aura for 2 colorless and a black. It has enchant creature. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So that's kind of cool. It's like a delayed mind control. You enchant the creature, and it doesn't have to be your creature. And when the creature dies, he comes back into play under your control. Yeah. So you can give your guy a second life if he's really good, or if somebody else's guy is really good, you can give it a second life, and then pray someone deals with it before it kills everyone.
Or if you've got a solution in your hand, you can enchant that before you kill a creature and then steal it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I mean, it's cheap too. I mean, three mana is not hard to come by, you know. So.
Yeah. Do not put this on Pristine Archangel. When it becomes untapped, it'll gain protection from all colors, and this will fall right off.
Right.
So, unless you're killing it immediately, don't do it. All right. Next is...
we have Sporecap Spider, a green and 2 colorless, and it's a 1/5 spider with reach. Most spiders have reach, so
yeah.
This is a good flying solution for green, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because
this
it's
guy's
a 1/5.
great. This guy's great.
You know,
I just wanted to see your analysis of it.
He has he's got a big butt, you know, so really you don't keep him on the attack, you just keep him to defend from those blue and white flyers.
Yeah, he's 3 mana, and he'll block all day long. All day long. He's really, really good. Like I saw online while I was looking around, watching people play, one guy had Silent Arbiter, which is... it's also a 1/5 for 4 mana with no reach, but it says only 1 creature can attack each turn, only 1 creature can block each turn.
Nice.
And he had that and like 3 Sporecap Spiders. you just couldn't touch him because a 1/5 for 3 mana is great. It'll block all day long. It messes with combat math. It stops the flying onslaught cold. Unless they have like a big 6/6 flying bomb, this guy's great.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, the big flyers were not. I did not see very many in this block. So unless you're pulling from different blocks, I don't remember many big flyers. I mean, we had Rhea in one pack, but not many.
This guy stops Rhea because she's a 4/6. Like most of the big flyers in this block are stopped by this guy. Yeah, he stops them cold. He's pretty good. If you are in green, I would say take this as early as 5th or 6th pick. I mean, it's very good. This guy alone will solve the problems you have with flying. All right. Next we have Typhoid Rats. I talked about this guy in our last Cracker Pack. He is a 1/1 Death Touch for 1 black. A rat, obviously. Yeah, he's great. I mean, I wouldn't take him early, but he kind of like Sporecap Spider. He just clogs up the board and doesn't let people through. Now, the disadvantage is he's going to die the first time he does it, but they literally have to suicide their best guy in order to hit you unless it flies.
Yeah. So maybe a black-green? Both of them?
Yeah, no,
that would be a good combo.
That's probably a really good deck, actually. There's Spirit Monger.
Yeah.
And Death Reap Ritual, and there's a lot of good green black support.
And the Death Touch is just that. It's the hesitator. You know, it makes people think twice before swinging into you. So it's a good draw. I mean, you throw him on the board first turn. You've got protection for a couple turns.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not bad late game either. I mean, they've been smashing you with their team. You've been smashing back. You drop him for 1 mana and you stop their 6/6 cold because they can't. If they attack you with all their guys, they lose that 6/6 and then they have to deal with the other things. So it's not bad. All right, next is Manamo Scrollkeeper. He is a 2/3 defender, human wizard for a colorless and a blue. And your maximum hand size is increased by 1. So I don't know how often that's really relevant.
I can't think of it. I mean, it's the good color for it, blue, with card draw, but it's not that remarkable to me. A 2/3 defender, I mean, he can't even attack, and all it does is give you 8 instead of 7 cards, and I'm not sure how much of an advantage that is. I don't remember ever discarding often,
Yeah, I never discarded during the games either. Honestly, I think his best home will be in commander decks afterwards. Blue commander decks are drawing lots of cards.
Yeah.
He is a wizard, which is relevant for a lot of the commander decks. Giving you an extra card size or a card in hand before you have to discard is not terrible. And he's a 2/3 for 2, so he's got a good mana ratio for it. I mean, he does have defender.
Oh yeah, he's a good card. I just don't see him being very useful in draft.
No, in the draft he's not. I mean, he's not great, but he's not bad. I mean, he'll still block for you. It's just his maximum hand size ability is not going to be that relevant.
It's irrelevant. Yeah.
All right.
Next we've got Respite for a green and a colorless. It's an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. You gain 1 life for each attacking creature. Now, I did play with this when we did do our draft, and I thought it was really good. Because it's an instant, it saves you for a turn, and it kind of takes them back a few steps when they're swinging with their whole board, and you're like, okay, yeah, instead I'm just going to gain 5 life instead of and all that damage you were going to do to me, and saves me a turn.
Yeah, this card is what professionals will tell you is terrible. It is a bad card from the way they look at Magic. They look at Magic one-on-one. They don't look at it for multiplayer. And a lot of time, the secret tech that you'll see pros board in is, I'm playing this deck that's all good except for my 1 fog, and the 1 fog is just to catch them off guard, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But this, in multiplayer, this can be game-breaking, where people have time to build these board states where everybody's got monsters, and one person finally breaks it and says, okay, smash, and you go, that's nice, I gain 5 life, your attack is blunted, you're tapped out. You're done? Okay, good. Next guy's turn. And now you're the only one open for him to smash into.
Yeah.
And it just upsets things.
It does.
So I wouldn't run more than 1, but I think as a one-of in a green shell, I think it'd be good to draft. I don't think it has any play in constructed.
No.
I mean, if you want to run fogs, you better be running a ton of them, and there's better fogs. And if you're only going to run 1 fog in your deck, there's better fog. So either way.
I did like that, though. You gain 1 life for each attacking creature. I'd have to go look at the rules, but do you actually gain the 1 life separately, so that healing triggers would go off?
No, it'll be a single trigger equal to 1 times the number of attacking creatures. Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of sucks, but would have been cool if it was every trigger,
Yeah.
But.
All right. So next we have
Wind Dancer. 1 colorless and 1 blue, 1/1 fairy. Flying, obviously. Tap, target creature gains flying until end of turn. And it's an uncommon. I don't know if I like it. I kind of do because of the tap ability that it has. That can be really powerful if you're using it to target one of your big baddies.
Yeah.
But otherwise it's just a 1/1 flyer for 2. So its tap ability is really what gives it its uncommon.
Yeah, this card's not bad at all. It's a 1/1 flyer, so for only 2 mana, so you can get it down early and it can start pecking away. It can give whatever your best creature is flying. So if you play this and then a little later on in the game you drop a Palaka Worm with a 7/7 trample, it can be a flying 7/7 trample. It can also carry equipment, though I don't know. There's not much equipment in the set, but there is some. It can carry equipment. It can be aurored up. So it gives you a nice evasive body for cheap to build on. But the way I used it in my mono blue Terabad deck, I used it with Air Servant. So what Air Servant has is you can pay mana to tap target creature with flying. So I would tap it, give their best guy flying, and then tap their best guy.
Yeah, I didn't think about using it on their stuff.
Yeah, I used it to tap them down. Which is it's a common trick. It was used
it's interesting.
In a limited environment recently, M14, M13, something like that. It's a fine guy. I wouldn't first pick him, but if you're the blue white skies deck, yeah, take him. He's good.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have Volcanic Fallout. which is a pretty good removal, actually. It knocks out the early game. It's a instant for 1 and 2 red. It can't be countered, and it deals 2 damage to each creature and each player.
Which can be devastating in multiplayer format. I mean, you're hitting tons of creatures and at least 3 other players.
In multiplayer formats, it's fine. It's great if you're in red. I'd take it. It's a great card. I've seen this played in Commanders because it costs 3, which is right under the curve for knocking out cards like Gaddock Teague, which can shut down a lot of the big mana cards. So it knocks out all the little weenies that are tapping to add 1 color or tapping to add 1 mana of any color. They're paying a white and tap to put a creature from your hand into play with.
It can be a board wiper, you know.
Yeah, it wipes out all the little guys, and it's not as good as some mass removal spells, but for red, it's kind of exactly what you need.
And it's fairly cheap, I think.
Yeah, I've even seen it in Constructed Burn because it can knock out Delver of Secrets. It knocks out that other blue spell.
But each player that can be redirected to Planeswalkers as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of uses.
I see its use.
If you're in red, it's a pretty decent pick. Not super high, not super low. It's kind of middling. Speaking of equipment,
Fire Shrieker, 3 colorless mana, artifact equipment. Equipped creature has double strike, and you can equip it for 2 colorless. So that is, I mean, it's just solid equipment, I think.
Yeah, its cost is so high because it's very powerful effect.
The double strike, it can.
You compare it to cards that are seeing play that are not seeing play rather, but are being printed that are considered bad cards in the environments they're in, like Battle Mastery, which is an enchantment creature that gives the enchanted creature double strike. I'd rather play this than Battle Mastery. This is more expensive, but
it'll stay on the board.
You can't 2-for-1 me by killing my creature because I can just slap it on another creature.
Yeah.
This isn't a good equipment for what we were talking about a little while ago with Windseeker or Wind Dancer, because it's a 1/1, so giving double strike's not that big a deal. If this had I'd rather have a power pump than this.
Yeah, I'd rather put that on the creature I'm giving flying.
But to use the Pelakkaworm argument again, a 7/7 trample with double strike is very good.
A whole nother story. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's a solid equipment. If you're, I don't know how I'd be picking it in the draft because usually I'd be focusing on my colors normally, but the fact that it's colorless means that it will get drawn. It won't come back to me, basically.
Yeah. No.
If I pass it up.
I'd want this if I was in green. If I'm going to be spending mana to make guys big, I want them to be a big body to begin with. That way, I like to, if I'm going to double down, I want to double down on something big. I want to double down on a 2/2 or something like that. So, yeah, it's not a great pick. Definitely has commander usage.
Oh, yeah.
If you have the right cube, it could go good in that.
I'm not sure if it
doesn't hit the common requirement for Pauper, otherwise it'd be amazing there. It's not bad. Alright, so our rare is Exploration.
Yay!
This card is very far from being bad. It's a very good card. It's a money card, which is nice. It is an enchantment for 1 green, and it says you can play an additional land on each of your turns. So, before this was printed in Conspiracy, this is about a $40 card.
We did talk about this last podcast.
Did we?
About its expense because it's been going up.
Yeah, well,
and now it's going to drop since they reprinted it.
Absolutely.
And the foil is still going to be like $70.
Yeah, the foil's still going to be very expensive. This is seeing play in Legacy Vintage, like I talked about last time. It sees plays in the land decks. It's great inclusion in any green commander deck.
Yeah, and it's going straight into my deck.
And as far as Conspiracy Draft goes, it's fine. If you're in green, you can run a decently high land count in green with one of these, and fine.
This is the kind of card and enchantment that pretty much goes in any green deck, right?
Sure.
I mean, its use is it's perfect for anything you want. It just gives you that land advantage.
Yeah, it doesn't ask anything of you.
Yeah, it's never a
it can come down turn 1
or anything. So
the earlier you draw it, the better. But it doesn't ask anything from you, and it can really put you ahead of everybody. I mean, if you get I drew a 1-drop, an exploration, some land, and a 7-drop, and then every turn I'm drawing land. Well, within 3 turns, you have played all those land instead of 1 a turn.
Honestly, I'd love to see it in a green-blue deck with card draw advantage. Then you get so much more land drop advantage. I think you could just blow away your competition.
Yep.
For
sure.
And we did get a foil. We did. Pillarfield Ox. A little common foil. It's so pretty.
I just be mean.
Oh. White 3 colorless. 2/4 Ox. No abilities. The foiling is pretty, but I really wish it was on a deck fade-in or something.
Yeah, me too. That's not a bad card. Pillarfield Ox is 2/4. It can block for days,
I think it's too expensive. I usually don't like paying that much for just
No, 2/4 for 4s are pretty common, and this shuts down aggressive strategies. I mean, yeah, it comes out after the aggressive strategies, but they get started, and then you just shut them down with a 2/4 because all their 2/2s that they're playing to try and aggregate out are gone. Granted, I keep forgetting, we're talking about Conspiracy here, where it's multiplayer, so aggro strategies are a little slower to begin with anyway, but yeah, this guy's not bad. Take him, 18th pick or so to fill out your white deck. He won't be a bad guy for you.
Yeah.
All right, what did we get? Conspiracy or Cardboard Construct?
We got a Conspiracy.
All right.
Advantageous Proclamation. It's an uncommon Conspiracy. Your minimum deck size is reduced by 5.
Okay.
Now, we did have a player in our draft use this.
Sure.
I'm not sure if it helped him, though. So, I mean...
Well, all right, there's 2 things that go with this. Generally, this would be looked at by professional players as amazing in heads-up Magic. 1v1, 60 card heads-up, whatever you want to call it. It'd be looked at as amazing because you don't want to play all the cool cards you have. You want to play your best cards, your 23 best cards and 17 land. So this would let you cut that number down, so you're playing even better cards. You're playing less crap as it goes. So you
get the best cards fast. So,
but this is Conspiracy, not heads-up Magic. Games go longer in Conspiracy.
Yeah,
and
he was close to drawing out.
Milling out is a real thing, and when you cut that down, it gets even easier. And unfortunately, every time I've seen this card taken, it's always been taken by like a blue-black player or a blue-red player who's drawing cards.
I think he was doing blue-red, and so, he was getting pretty low there.
You don't want to play this and card draw. You play this instead of card draw so that you can play a better card pool without needing to draw to get to your better stuff. So,
yeah.
But otherwise,
it's fun.
It's a powerful card, and if you draft a good deck, your deck is going to be better than it would have been.
Yeah. But
so that wraps up our Cracker Pack. We got an exploration that was pretty awesome.
That's the one I would take too.
Absolutely.
If first pick, exploration, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I love going green anyways for drafting, green white usually. But like I said, there's no negative to that card except that you have to go green.
Yeah.
So
the picks for me, like, it's not close. There's exploration, Spore Cap Spider, and Volcanic Fallout. I think are the only ones that are even anywhere close, and it's definitely exploration's pick for me as well.
Exploration definitely. So that was like no contest there. So that was an easy pack.
All right. So now we're gonna go through all of the Cardboard Construct and Conspiracies that came out, and then we're going to talk about how you can use them after you're done drafting. So luckily we just talked about Advantage Proclamation, so I don't have to talk about it.
Yep. So what's the next Conspiracy on the list?
Next is Backup Plan. So Backup Plan is Conspiracy. This one isn't a hidden agenda, so you just start with it face up, and it says draw an additional hand of 7 cards as the game begins. Before taking mulligans, shuffle all but one of your hands into your library. So you don't do them, it doesn't give you a free mulligan, and you do them separately. You draw 7 cards, and you look at that hand, and you set it down, and then you draw another 7 cards.
And then you pick one of them?
And then if you have multiple backup plans, you draw another 7 cards. But with just one,
I guess it would stack.
You draw 2 hands of 7, you look at them, you decide which one you want to keep, and then you put that one down, keep it, and then you shuffle the rest back in your library. Now, then you can take a mulligan if you want.
Yeah.
So if they both suck, you can still mulligan, and it's multiplayer, so it's draw 7, pick one, put the other one back, then you mulligan and draw 7, because you don't mulligan down on your first mulligan in multiplayer.
Okay.
So
we usually house rule our mulliganing. I'm not sure how many
that's
people
true.
out there
do
house
I'm
rule the mulligan.
About generally.
But yeah, for official rules, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice. I like that card. It's a nice conspiracy to have.
Yeah.
It gives you a much better advantage right at the beginning, out of the gate, you know? So definitely I would grab it for drafting. Now, is it going to go in the cube? I assume most of these are going to make their cut into...
I think we'll go over which ones I'm planning for the cube at the end, and
Okay.
which ones my picks are at the end. So
Alright.
we'll go ahead and move on.
Next one's Brago's Favor. It's a hidden agenda conspiracy. So at the start of the game, you have it face down, usually with a little note, naming a card in your deck. And then spells with the chosen name or card that you cast cost 1 less mana to cast. 1 less colorless to be specific. So like the exploration wouldn't benefit from this. But all your other cards are cheaper, so you get to play them faster. It's a great conspiracy to grab.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was talking about earlier with the lizard warrior.
Yeah, the lizard warrior that's 4. And
Yeah,
seems just too expensive for what he is, but
he's a 4/2 for 4, but
this makes him good.
If you pick up this, he becomes a 4/2 for 3, and then as you stack the other hidden agendas on him, like he's easy to get, and you can build your own bomb with him that way. So this is just one of the pieces.
Yep.
Okay,
that's
so
good.
Our next one is going to be called Double Stroke. It's also a hidden agenda, and you want to do it with this one with instants and sorceries. And what it does is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with the chosen name, you get to copy it. And then you can choose new targets for the copy. So basically for free you get a twin cast it, fork it, whatever card you guys know. You get to copy that spell and do it twice. So you get to cast 2 lightning bolts,
really
you get to
good.
cast whatever it may
Now,
be.
I think I passed this one up because I was in green, so I was looking more at my creatures and stuff.
Sure.
So because I'm like, well, I've only got 2 sorceries and like 1 instant, so it's not going to benefit me that much. I'd much rather have the Brago's Favor. So I think I passed this one up, but I'm sure in your blue deck, it would.
No, I was playing mono blue skies.
No.
So most of my deck was taken up by creatures as well. Yeah, I was flying creatures.
Well,
and wasted both
I
of
think
them.
one of the players did a mono black, which actually would have benefited from this.
Yeah, I think so.
Even if you did white, I mean there are white instants and sorceries and stuff out there. You just need to look at your hand, see what you got, see if it's worth grabbing and playing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So our next one is called Immediate Action. It is also a hidden agenda, and creature control with the chosen name have haste. So this is again another piece of build your own bomb, and I think it's great. It combines well with various other ones. This is the one you don't want more than one of, though, unless you're going to do it with multiple creatures. But if you've picked a creature and you're trying to get as many of these hidden agendas to buff it as you can, you only need 1 immediate action. Let the rest pass.
I would say try and favor the ones that have like an on attack, like when they attack or when they deal damage kind of creatures, because you want those to have haste, and they usually don't have haste.
Sure.
So that you know when you drop it that you're going to get its ability to go off.
Basically, you want to use most of these hidden agendas, in my opinion, on the same card, and you want it to be one that you have a lot of in your deck.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what its stats are, to be honest with you. You just want to have a bunch of them so that.
But I mean, in draft format, I didn't see a lot of duplicates. Some cards people were able to gather, but it's very limited on how many of these copies you're going to get.
Sure, yeah, like the Lizard Warrior is probably the best example because it's a card nobody wants when they first look at it. So there's those in every color, and if you pick those, you start seeing them pass around. You start picking them up.
With 8 people, there's overdrawing on colors, so it was really hard to get a ton of a single card.
Well, I got 5 of the guy who searches
because
out
nobody
other ones.
wanted blue. Okay,
Yeah. I'm just saying it's possible to do it.
You were able to do a mono blue, which means you got all the blue cards.
Yeah, I still did terrible at it. All right, next is
iterative analysis.
Thank you.
It's a hidden agenda as well. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery with the chosen name, you may draw a card. So again, it's kind of the same deal as the last one that dealt with instant sorceries. Just make sure you have some.
Sure, yeah. Well, with Double Stroke or this card, you want to at least have more than one, ideally.
Right.
And then it just adds cantripping onto it, which makes it great.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's great.
Yep, not bad.
Card draw is always nice.
Yep. Next is Muzio's Preparations. Hidden agenda, name a creature. Each creature you control with the chosen name enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. This is the one that if you've got like 5 of that guy and you're trying to build a bomb, you want as many of these as you can get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As many of these as you can get, and as many Braga's favor as it has colorless mana sources.
Right.
Or mana symbols. And yeah, you just build your own bomb from there. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
no, it's great. Always coming in. I mean, +1/+1 is great.
It changes the way you want to play the game instead of trying to fit a curve or work your way up. It's just I want as many of these guys as I can get.
Yeah.
And then I want as many of these conspiracies as I can get. So it kind of just changes the axis of play.
Yep. All right, next we have power play, which is a conspiracy, not a hidden agenda. You are the starting player. If multiple players would be the starting player, one of those players is chosen at random. Now,
so what this means, this overwrites the game rules.
Right.
You play this, and this says I'm the starting player. So I play this, I'm the starting player. Now the reason that second line is there is if someone else has power play as well.
Right.
Then you choose one of you two at random.
Okay. So it's like I rolled a 20. And then the next time, so I roll up to 22.
Yeah, the game will say that you determine the starting player by randomization. This says we're not going to determine it by the randomization. I'm the starting player. If someone else has it, it says I'm the starting player. I'm the starting player. Well, now we have to pick them at random because of the card's wording.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice little change to the game. Secret summoning is a hidden agenda. Whenever a creature with the chosen name enters the battlefield under your control, you may search your library for any number of cards with that name, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Now, this is like what you were saying when you're trying to build that bomb. You get all of those guys that have +1/+1 and haste. Now they're all in your hand.
Yeah.
So, and they all cost 1 less mana. So
what Wizards did is they built a trap. Because I didn't see this when I was looking through the spoilers. I somehow missed it.
Really?
So I knew going in I wanted to play with these conspiracies and try and get as many of one card as I could. And I settled on blue because the Screeching Seahawk, I can't even remember his name, Screaming Seahawk I think it's called. It's the blue one that searches out more of its kind. Mm-hmm. I saw that, nobody was taking them, it came around again, so I just started snapping them all up and I ended up with 5 of them. I didn't know that this was out there, or I probably would have picked something like the Lizard Warrior or something else that was cheaper and had a bigger body because it's a 2/2 flyer for 5.
Wow.
I would much have preferred like a 3/3 flyer for 3 that didn't have that effect and then built it on with this. Of course, I didn't see this come around to do that, so I would have failed at it. But yeah, this guy is awesome. This turns it into
now this
anybody into that same kind of
this
effect.
is one of the conspiracies I would actually probably pick up earlier game or earlier in the draft, just because it can be so powerful when you do focus on collecting a single card. You just get it all out there and just basically swarm your opponents with this awesome guy.
Yeah. If you like, for example, a good example. Let's look at our crack pack here. Silver Chase Fox is a 2/2 for 2. If you end up with like 5 Silver Chase Foxes, this is awesome because this one works like the most recent one from M10 that was in the Cobblade deck. I can't remember his name. But it searches for any number of them, so you can just go get the rest of them that equal to whatever would put you over in your hand, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we have Secrets of Paradise. It's a hidden agenda. And creatures you control with a chosen name have add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So, whatever you name becomes Birds of Paradise.
Yep, Secrets of Paradise means whatever your card is a Birds of Paradise.
Yeah. So I don't really like this one, personally. I think that,
It's not a bad ability, but, it does tap, so...
Yeah, if you're playing a deck that wants Birds of Paradise in it, I think that there were mana dorks in the set. I can't remember. I didn't play any. I don't remember seeing any. I might be wrong on that. But
it gives you a mana advantage, though.
If you get a bunch of 1 mana guys, for example, the Typhoid Rats, they're a 1/1 Death Touch for 1. If you get like 5 of those, and this, you can just be like, okay,
I got tons of mana.
And you can reveal it any time, so you can sit there.
Yeah.
As just a Typhoid Rats, and then you can be like, okay, I got 4 mana and 3 Typhoid Rats because of my unlucky draw. Oh look, I drew my 7 drop. flip my conspiracy over, tap all 3 of my rats, tap 4 mana, play my 7-drop.
Yep.
So
it can take people by surprise, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick this one highly as far as the conspiracies go. I think there's better ones to pick.
Yeah.
But if you got nothing better, then might as well pick it up. You can always find use for it.
Yeah. All right, next we have Sentinel Dispatch. It's just a regular conspiracy. At the beginning of your the first upkeep, put a 1/1 colors construct artifact creature token with Defender onto the battlefield. So I'm not sure if it's amazing, but it's not bad. At the very beginning of the game, first upkeep, you got a 1/1 out there protecting you. So
yeah, no, this one, this is the one that if you're playing the white-red Defender deck, you want as many of these as you can get.
Yeah.
Because it gets them out there and gets you going. And the white-red Defender deck works a little weird. You want Flame Keepers. I don't remember what they're called. The white-red guy that makes Defenders. It lets you use them to kind of control the board. And we had one of those in our game when we played.
Was it?
And
did you see much of an advantage with it?
Yeah, it worked really well. Like,
nice.
If I had thought to take that and build that deck, yeah, it would have been a lot of fun.
All right, next we have Unexpected Potential, which we talked about. Hidden Agenda, you may spend mana as though or mana of any color to cast the spell with the chosen name. I loved this when you were doing the multicolor cards. I mean, it was perfect. Helped mana balance phenomenally.
Yeah, I ended up with 2 of these in my deck. Like I said, I was playing Mono Blue Skies. I played a black-green card and a white-green card I ended up, like I said, with 2, so I used 2 of these, and I played cards completely off color. I love this thing. It lets you go, okay, open pack 3, I've got one of these sitting around, open pack 3, oh look, an awesome bomb not in my colors, I'm picking it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one of the guys had the mono green deck, and he got one of these Unexpected Potentials, put Phage into his deck.
Nice.
It wrecked.
Yeah.
Okay, would have that really expensive black creature.
Turn 5 Phage
in a mono green deck was
green.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think he ended up winning.
He did. He destroyed us.
Yeah.
Next one?
Yeah, let's move on. I can't remember what I was going to say. The last one is WorldKnit, and this one I really wanted to open so badly. Like, you have to open it in pack 1 for it to be good. But the way it works is as long as every card in your card pool started the game in your library or in the command zone, lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So what this card does is it makes all of your lands rainbow lands. They tap for all colors. But you have to be playing with every single card you draft.
Oh, interesting.
So,
that's an interesting concept.
But what this says is, if you draft this pack 1, pick 1, it says you get to take the best card out of every single pack. Whatever the best of whatever's left, you get to take it. And then
because you don't have to worry about the color coordinating.
So then you drafted the best card you could possibly draft out of every pack, then you get to build your deck out of the best of those cards. So you should end up with a very sweet deck. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You don't get it because you don't get a pair down. You have to play them all.
You have to play all of them.
But you're still drafting the best of every card. And I know that there's some tricks with some of the color contracts, what we're about to move to in just a second, that you can use to make this better. Because there's a guy who we'll talk about who lets you ditch cards to increase his toughness. So the way it works, and we'll talk about when we get there.
Any kind of discard source.
Yeah, no, not discard. You get to basically remove them from your card pool so that you can't play with them at the draft anymore, which is a disadvantage to you to make him better, but it helps WorldKnit out if you use them. So, all right, now we're gonna move into the color constructs. To get through them, we got to get through this a little bit faster because we don't want our podcast to be as long as episode 1 was. We had to cut it into 2 segments. So, our first card is Aether Searcher. He is a construct, 6/4 for 7 mana, 7 colorless, and he says reveal him as you draft it. Reveal the next card you draft and note its name. When he enters the battlefield, you must search your hand and/or library for a card with the name noted as you drafted the card named Aether Searcher. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. So
pick a thing and cast it for free?
Right.
Basically? As you draft it.
Yeah, so
reveal the next card you draft.
When I first read this guy, I was like, he's not that good. He's 6/4 for 7 who lets you tutor for a guy and put him in your hand, and it has to be the next card you draft. Big freaking whoop. I didn't realize that it puts the next card you draft after him onto the battlefield. And so he's a rare, which means he's going to be No, I don't think that's right because they have a separate. Their rarity doesn't stack with the regular rarity. Either way, if you first pick this guy and go into pack 2 or the second pick of the first pack, you have a huge card pool and still lots of good cards left, which means that you can get this guy and the other guy into play for free.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty much always going to be good when you take him because he's going to give you it and another thing, unless he somehow went really late. I highly doubt it.
Yeah. Next one is Agent of Acquisitions. He's 2 mana. Draft him face up. And he's a 2/1 construct. Instead of drafting a card from a booster pack, you may draft each card in that booster pack one at a time. If you do, turn Agent of Acquisitions face down, and he can't draft cards for the rest of this draft round.
Right, and so the draft round is the pack. So if you're on pack 2 and you activate him, then it only lasts until the end of pack 2, and then you can start drafting cards like normal again. I didn't realize that this guy turned on. Like, when I first read him, of course it was from the spoiler, and I wasn't really reading, I was just kind of skimming. I thought he was just, you draft him, and then you draft everything else in that pack. I didn't realize that you draft him, and he sits there face up until you're ready, and then you turn him face down to activate him, and be like, I'm taking the rest of this pack.
Yeah.
So you could draft him, like, 5th pick, or, like, 12th pick, somehow.
And then at the beginning of the next
and then pack 2,
round,
like, look at it and be like, this pack's amazing. I'm taking the whole thing.
all of it, yeah.
So
that's good.
Most people think he's a trap when they talk about it. Like it sounds good, but how good is it really?
Right.
But from seeing a gameplay with it actually that Loader Run did, it worked fine. He said that it was about 50-50, which is what you can expect from a pack anyway.
Right.
Okay, so next is Canal Dredger. He's 4 mana for a 1/5 construct. Draft him face up. Each player passes the last card from each booster pack to a player who drafted a card named Canal Dredger. And he has tap, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. So, I think it's flavorful. You get the dregs. He dredges the bottom of every pack. Excuse me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one we have is Cogwork Grinder. He's 6 mana to cast and a 0/0. You draft him face up, and as you draft a card, you may remove it from the draft face down. Those cards aren't in your card pool. So Cogwork Grinder enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards you remove from the draft with cards named Cogwork Grinder.
So this is the guy I was talking about that works really good with WorldNet.
Yeah.
So if you draft WorldNet and you get that, and then you get this guy, it's awesome because every time you have to take a bad draft, it's like, oh, this card pack, nothing good in the pack. Yeah. You just take something and then remove it to this guy.
With this guy.
And he's going to be better when you play him in your deck, and it makes your WorldNet deck better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next is Cogwork Librarian. It is a 3/3 construct for 4 mana. You draft him face up. As you draft a card, you may draft an additional card from that booster pack. If you do, put Cogwork Librarian into that booster pack. So what this guy does is you take him, and he sits there face up, and whenever you want, you can draft 2 cards from a booster pack and put this guy back.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It does go, because it goes back into the booster pack, you're handing him off to a different player to do the same thing. So, it just kind of makes its rounds, and people get, I think, a better pool for their colors, because they can choose those 2 blue cards that are in there, rather than having to sacrifice the blue to the other person who's playing blue, or just picks it because they don't have anything else to pick. So I think it's a great card to pull if there's not something better in the pack for your colors.
Yeah, he becomes the proverbial pot potato once he's been picked, because he kind of sits in the pack, and then someone's like, well, nothing good, I'll take this. And then it's like, oh, 2 things good, I'll take this and put this back. And the next guy's like, well, nothing good, I'll take this.
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes and goes and goes, and eventually someone gets stuck with it. But
it does make the drafting interesting.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's cool. Anyway, moving on. Cogwork Spy is a 2/1 flyer for 3 mana, and reveal it as you draft it. You may look at the next card drafted from this booster pack, so you can kind of get insight to the person next to you as to what colors they're drafting. Other than that, he's a 2/1 flyer for 3. It's not bad.
Next we have Cogwork Tracker for 4 mana. He's a 4/4 Hound construct. Reveal Cogwork Tracker as you draft it and note the player who passed it to you. Cogwork Tracker attacks each turn if able, but it attacks a player you noted for cards named Cogwork Tracker each turn if able. So, it's kind of an interesting card. It makes you not want to pass him. You know, it makes you want to draw him. Not first turn, obviously, but I think he's interesting. You know, it really is one of those draft matters cards that plays through the whole game.
Yeah, he's interesting. Most people say that they don't end up ever using him when they draft him. It's just there's better cards out there. I mean, 4/4 for 4 is good value, but when it has to attack every turn,
and it has to
kind of
attack
that
a single
juggernaut
target.
effect, and then especially if you're end up in the pool with the person who had it. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So next is Deal Broker. It's a 2/3 for 3 construct. You draft it face up. Immediately after the draft, you may reveal a card in your card pool. Each other player may offer you one card in his or her card pool in exchange. You may accept any one offer. And then, as far as in play, it has tap, draw a card, then discard a card. So it's 2/3 looter for 3, which is fine. It's a fine man. And then he has this auctioneer draft during the draft ability. I think it's funny. We didn't get any.
We didn't. That would have been really fun to play with.
Yeah, I think it would have been really fun. But I mean, I would have drafted him and played with him.
Yeah, just for the social aspect. I mean, it's
and
great.
Then, the whole.
It would be so much fun.
What's your offer? I got this bomb that's not in my colors. I think.
Yeah, if that mono guy had auctioned off Phage instead of playing it.
Yeah.
All right, next we have Lore Seeker for 2 mana. It's a 2/2 construct. Reveal Lore Seeker as you draft it. After you draft Lore Seeker, you may add a booster pack to the draft. Now, we kind of talked about it before, but this was really fun, and it becomes more interesting if you have leftover booster packs from different sets, because it doesn't say a conspiracy booster pack. It's any booster pack you can get your hands on. So it's fun. I think you said you regretted when you picked it.
Yeah, I picked this pick one pack one because I wasn't thinking straight, and I passed a really good bomb. And what I should have done is just let the guy to my left pick this, and I still would have gotten a pick out of the booster pack. Now, granted, I ended up playing Spirit Monger in my mono blue deck out of that second pack one pick one that I got by drafting him first pick.
So yeah, you either get the first look at a new booster pack, or you just eventually it's going to give an extra draw to everybody in the draft.
Yeah.
So either way, he's really fun.
I mean, he's still playable. He's a 2/2 for 2. He's a bear. He's not bad.
Next, we have Lurking Automaton for 5. I got to play him. 2 of them. He's a 0/0 construct. Reveal Lurking Automaton as you draft it, and note how many cards you've drafted this draft round, including the Lurking Automaton. I really have a tough time with that. Automaton. Lurking Automaton enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the highest number you noted for cards named Lurking Automaton.
Yeah. So, I saw one of these that was played really hilariously, and that it got picked up by a guy as a second pick, and then everybody kind of disregarded it. And then in pack 3, he picked up another one as his 13th pick. And the way this works is, it enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counter on it, where X is the highest number you noted for cards named Lurking Automaton. So because the second one he picked up was 13th pick, both of them are now going to be 13/13s.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a hilarious combo with him when I drew 2. I was able to get, I don't think we've named him yet, the one that lets you draw, you keep him face up, and then when you want to, you can draw another one from that pack and put him back in. Oh, we did talk about him.
Yeah, we did talk about him.
I had drawn him, and he'd been sitting there. Lurking Automaton came to me, so I drafted a different card in that pack, putting the other guy back, which gave me an extra draw for that draft round. So then I drew Lurking Automaton, and he was then, instead of being a 5/5 like he would have been, he was a 6/6, and made the other one I had already drawn a 6/6 as well.
Yeah.
So it was a hilarious combo, but it was really fun to play with.
Yeah, he's an interesting card. It's kind of you don't want to draft him too early, but you don't want to draft him too late.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like I said, that one guy kind of got the best of both worlds, got it early
Right.
and then late
And then
to make
late.
it really good. But most of the time, it usually ends up being a 5/5 or 6 issues, but nobody lets it go past that because once the value gets too good, they just start snapping it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we have Whisper Gear Sneak. He is a 1/1 construct for 1. You draft face up, and during the draft, you may turn him face down. If you do, look at any unopened booster pack in the draft or any booster pack not being looked at by another player.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of I think 2 pop up throughout our entire draft, and
It was fun.
we did it for funny value, and just kind of social
Yeah.
interaction. Ideally, you probably want to be doing this to the person to your left or right on their next pack to know what's kind of coming to you. But I did it for a guy, my buddy, way down the line, and he did it for another player, and it was just a lot of fun.
And it was nice because you said just any pack that is not being looked at. So you actually went over to your friend, opened his unopened pack to look at what he'd be looking at first turn, for the next round.
Looked him right in the eye, opened his pack, sniffed his cards. It was great. Yeah, a lot of fun.
So.
Okay, so that finishes up all of the conspiracies and coward constructs. So now we're going to really briefly go through which ones we think will be good for
making the cut
for cube, and then we're going to really briefly go over what we've done to our cube. So, first of all, most of the hidden agendas, I think, are crap for cube in the traditional sense of the way you play cube, which is generally cube is kind of played in the Highlander tradition of you only have one of every given card, which means that you don't have enough to get multiples to make those really good.
The hidden agendas were pretty much all not making the cut.
Yeah.
Just because we only have one copy of every card, so you don't get that hidden agenda benefit. There's no point in running it.
Yeah. So
most of the conspiracies, though, the other conspiracies did make the cut.
Yeah. So there's advantageous proclamation, reducing your hand size by 5. I'd advise putting one of those in your cube. Backup plan is a fine addition to your cube. Double stroke is a hidden agenda I would advise because you can do it with a really powerful spell to get double effect on. Mm-hmm. Immediate action, give you something haste. You can pick your bomb, so one of those in the cube wouldn't be terrible.
I don't think it would be necessarily great though.
No, generally in cube the cards are more powerful. You're gonna have a bomb, giving
That's true.
Giving a Titan haste, for example, is fine.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's not bad. The adding a draw card to an instant or sorcery with iterative analysis, not that good in the cube. Music preparations is crap in cube. Power play. You are the starting player. That one's a fine one to put one of in the cube. Secret summoning is absolutely worthless because you don't have copies, so it doesn't do anything. Secrets of Paradise, turning something into a bird of paradise, is not that big of a deal. It's not that good in cube. Sentinel Dispatch, also not that big of a deal. Unexpected Potential. This is the one card that I'd advise. Personally, I would put a couple of in cube, 2, maybe 3, throughout, depending on how big your cube is, because it has that effect of you can draft just an awesome bomb. It doesn't have to be on color. And lastly, WorldNet. I think one of these in the cube would be fine. Personally, in our cube, I will be putting a double stroke. Basically, everything I said, I'll be doing to our personal cube. And probably at least 2, maybe 3 unexpected potentials. The only other one that I really like, that's a hidden agenda that I really, really like, is double stroke. Particularly because of what we're going to do to our cube, I like it. But yeah, any powerful spell just getting double effect. Double Swords to Plowshares, for example, really good effect.
Yeah.
For the covert constructs,
I think pretty much all of them could go in there. I mean,
personally, yeah, they could all go in. Personally, I'll be leaving most of them out. I think that some of them, the guy who the tracker who attacks must attack if able.
Yeah.
They're looking at somebody else's booster pack. I don't think they're that useful for cube.
I think some of them are a lot of fun though, like adding the extra booster pack.
Yeah, I'll probably be putting one of the extra booster pack guy in.
The
I'll
lurking automaton.
A couple of the librarians in.
Oh yeah.
Because I think those guys are great.
It was a lot of fun.
Probably put an Aether Searcher in. Yeah, like basically any of them can go in. It's just all up to what you want to do.
Yeah, they just kind of add flavor to your draft. There's no real huge advantage, I think. Maybe, like you said, though, the Lurking Automaton can get pretty big if left unattended.
Yeah, like...
But that doesn't normally happen. So
yeah, it's gonna be
none
up
of them are like game breaking. So
it'll basically be up to you. Whatever you want to do. All the cogwork constructs will be fine. I mean, they will all work fine in cube because none of them have to do with multiples of a given card. So that's it for our advice there. Now, really briefly, we're going to talk about what our cube is, and then we're going to wrap it up. So the way our cube works is we took Evan Irwin's cube from CubeDrafting.com, and I took it at the time I took it, and then we've started editing and keeping it up ourselves. Well, the problem is that we mostly, as we've said, play Commander, which means we mostly play multiplayer. So we get together and we play, and I go to do the pairings because it is a draft, and everybody just wants to play multiplayer. The problem is standard cubes aren't built for multiplayer. They're built with aggressive red and white weenie and all the normal strategies.
We did have to edit it because we kept running into that. Anybody who tried to draft red was like screwed. So they couldn't compete with the green.
Conspiracy came out, and what we did is I took and looked at Conspiracy and looked at it, and I kind of turned our cube into a Conspiracy Commander-ish level of play, and changed the card choices. Red got slowed way down. It became much more sustainable. I took out a lot of the burn, a lot of the stuff like that, and it became a much more multiplayer friendly cube. And I think when I finally get it finished, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I added cards. I took out cards like all bunch of the counter spells and added in cards like Blatant Thievery, 7 mana, take a permanent from each opponent. Just a bunch of these much slower, much more commandery cards.
Yeah, ones that focus on each player rather than target player, just because of the multiplayer feature.
Yeah, so it's going to be a multiplayer cube, and with that, I kind of trying something new. I created a separate cube lit of legendary creatures. So for each 2-color pair, for the guilds, there's 10 guilds. I chose 3 legendary creatures in that color pair for a total of 30 legendary creatures. And so I'm going to try and do a commander cube where you first draft from the little cubelet, 3 or 4 cards just disseminated amongst your friends, and then you draft like normal, send that back around drafting.
Well, don't forget, because it would be commander-ish, I think we'd have to have a greater card pool, maybe not up to 100, but not 40.
Yeah, it might go larger either way.
So we'll that'll take some balancing and some playing out to see what works for this kind of commander draft.
Yeah, so this way each 2-color pair, I haven't done 3-color pairings yet, but each 2-color pairing will have 3 potential generals for it. You'll draft, and then from there, whatever you drafted or whatever you drafted the thing in the draft, you'll have to pick a commander and build a deck off of that. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. So I chose cards like Double Stroke because Blatant Thievery, Double Stroke, things like that.
Now, with the Conspiracy, really we are putting some, like you said, we're putting some of those Conspiracies in, and the Cogworks, the Constructs. So that's a separate little pile, though, that you're going to be having, and you will put one at random into each little mini pack that we build, right, from the cube. Is that how I understood you were planning to do that?
I haven't really decided yet. I might just shuffle them in and see how it does, or I might have them separate and then just kind of do like 14-card packs and then add one from this little pile of them as well. Yeah, I haven't really decided on that yet.
It might take some play through to see which way works better, because I think it would kind of suck to have a bunch of them like kind of bunched up together, and you're like looking at 3 or 4 different Conspiracy cards in your little booster pack.
I definitely agree. So I think the main thing to get out of this though is that there is life for these draft only cards after Conspiracy drafting, and that is cube.
Yes.
So,
which is a lot of fun. If you want to draft and don't really have the money to, cube's a great option. We have a lot of fun. Even with this 2 players, we'll just Winston draft is what it's called.
Yeah.
I think you can look that up somewhere. But we have a lot of fun, and it's kind of a mini draft format for us. So just that whole build your deck right then and there and play with each other. Best deck builder wins.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So after Conspiracy, you can do stuff, and we'll probably do a update as well for how the changes have gone, and
what we found that
what we've
worked or
learned,
didn't work. So
absolutely. But
this is it, like you said before. Our cube is ever evolving. As new cards come out, the more we play it, the more we're like, well, this card doesn't really work well in this draft format or this multiplayer format, you know. So maybe we should cut it from the cube. That's always an option, and it's just something that we're slowly fine tuning over time.
Yeah. But this
But
podcast
Conspiracy was great for it. So.
Yeah.
And it really helped make our cube evolve and jump another level.
Yeah, so this will do it for Conspiracy. Look forward to M15 coming out.
Yep, we'll be doing spoiler review next time.
Yep.
So thanks for listening.
I think that'll do it. This podcast is getting kind of long, so check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/TheCardNinjas with an S at the end. Our homepage is www.TheCardNinja. What's our Twitter?
Check us out. Our Twitter is _card_ninja.
Alrighty.
So.
And our YouTube address, I believe, is
TheCardNinja.
Okay, so ninjas. I believe it's ninjas. So it's
with an S.
YouTube.com/TheCardNinjas. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks. Bye.